It is the year 2020, Studio Series 86 Grimlock reveal. Good morning. Hot on the heels of Hasbro Pulse's Fans First Friday, where they revealed on October 16th a bevy of new figures for their Studio Series line, this is the leader class Grimlock from the 86 series that I was most excited to hear about. There were very few leaks online about this figure, and I was really pumped and excited when I saw this. It's a Grimlock and a Wheelie figure that is monstrously huge and just so animation accurate. So to me, this looks like the Grimlock figure we've kind of all been waiting for. Now, we've had a few Grimlock figures over the years. The last one that came out was for Power of the Primes, and I think most collectors were happy with that one. For me, I thought that the figure was a little bit limited in terms of its articulation because it had to be a combiner and it needed the combiner port. Also, its size was a little bit on the smaller side. I think it scaled okay with the other deluxes, maybe even the Voyagers of the line, but the rest of the Dinobots had to be of significantly smaller size. Sludge, for example, being a Brontosaurus, is super tiny compared to Grimlock as a Power of the Primes combiner Dinobot. But this Grimlock here is going to be a large, chunky leader class size, and I think that scales appropriately with the rest of the generations figures that have come out. This Grimlock has a really nice color decoration. You can see in these pictures that he's got the yellow chest. It looks like it appears that he's got a clear transparent chest, and the production, the rendered images have him with a yellow solid neck. I think that in the final reveal of the figure, he has actually a translucent neck with mechanical bits inside, and I think the latter is going to be what actually comes out when this figure is released to toy shelves. Now, I think this figure is going to scale really well if you happen to have picked up the Quintesson Pit of Judgment, and you have the Quintesson Judge and some Sharkticons with you. Now, I did mention he came with a little wheelie. This wheelie is non-transformable, so he's got limited articulation, particularly in the knees. I wish they would have added a joint in the knees so he could actually have a standing pose, but he's got like a saddle riding half bent knee pose, so he can only do so much. Obviously he can ride on Grimlock, which is nice, but if you're trying to pose him by himself, he can only really achieve like a cowboy sort of stance. So I think this is more of a glorified accessory for Grimlock, which is fine, but I think we do need an updated wheelie version as well, since the last wheelie figure from the Titan's Return had a lot of issues when it went into its alt mode. The little tabs wouldn't plug in as they should. So this is going to stand out really nicely in your collection. Especially if you have the little Sharkticons running around. It makes sense that Grimlock is just gigantic and mammoth size compared to the little Sharkticons. And I've always felt that Grimlock should have been sized somewhat similar to his appearance in the War for Cybertron video games. I think it was the Fall of Cybertron actually, but he was just a gigantic guy, and that seemed like the right size for him. The Dinobots are supposed to be big, chunky, sort of brawler type characters who have, if they go up one-on-one against a Decepticon, they should be able to take them on and win handily. They've got that titanium skin. Now here's a product shot for the actual toy itself. You see it doesn't vary too much from the rendered image, except for the neck where it's got the translucent plastic, which I know some some people are not gonna really like that because translucent plastic tends to age poorly and shatter over time. But you do have the yellow eyes, which is really nice, and it's such a big beastie here. You can see he's kind of been packing the donuts away, and it looks like the gun can plug into his back. The articulation looks like it's nice and complicated, but not overly complicated to the point where it's not a fun transformation. Now, it being a Studio Series figure, there's already a Grimlock in the Studio Series. It came from I think it was the Last Night or Age of Extinction, and that one was really nice for former Transformers fans. It was, just movie accurate, and that's what the Studio Series is supposed to be. They're trying to make the action figures look more studio accurate. Movie accurate. So that's what we got here. Now, I'm honestly fine if Grimlock is not a combiner like in Power of the Primes. I think he's a fine standalone figure. You can see some of the details. He comes with the Black Blaster, and Wheelie comes with a little slingshot, which is appropriate. And it looks like the tail will swing up and form part of the thighs there. And he looks like he does have a waist swivel and a good thigh articulation. The arms look like they are on butterfly joints, red butterfly joints. So overall, it's looking really good, and the little dinosaur arms are going to just hang out on the back, which is very G1 accurate. So I hadn't picked up a Grimlock in a long time, so this was the figure out of the 86 series that I was most excited for. And the Studio Series is probably going to center around the animation models of the characters from the 86 movies for next year, for 2021. You can see how big the package is here, and how Wheelie scales inside the package. This is the largest size, and it comes with each of the 86 Studio Series will have a diorama backdrop, and in this case it's going to be the Quintesson Pit of Judgment scene where they burst through the door to save Cup and Hot Rod. You can see the number 86 and a sub number 06. All the Studio Series figures are going to have a sub number there that will differentiate them. So this is going to be what we're looking forward to. I'm pretty excited. I've always wanted a Grimlock. Especially, I really wanted to get the Masterpiece figure that came out a few years back, like 10 years ago actually now. And I just didn't have the money for it. But this is going to really fill in that desire to get a Grimlock figure. It's really nice. It's not going to probably be as good as that one in terms of articulation, but I think that if you want to go with a collection that is more on-screen accurate, then this is probably going to fit into your collection nicely. Or you could just have both. You can have as many Grimlocks as you want. You can have 5, 10, however many. Here's the back of the box. You can see it transforms in 24 different. It has 24 different steps to achieve the transformation. I think that this is a real crowd pleaser. Unfortunately, it's going to be a highly collectible item. I've already seen this figure sold out through the Hasbro Pulse pre-order, and I'm sure that it's also sold out on the other online retailers, Big Bad Toy Store, Target, Walmart, Amazon. I think it was available for pre-order on those sites, but now it's not going to be more easily attainable. So we're going to have to wait and see if they do another run of pre-orders, which I think they should. I mean, who doesn't love Grimlock? He's been a fan favorite since pretty much day one. I mean, children love dinosaurs, and so do adults. So there you go. And I hope they do make the rest of the Dinobots in time. I mean, I would love to get a huge sludge Dinobot Brontosaurus just stomping around. And who wouldn't like, the rest of them, Swoop, Slag, or Slug, as he's sometimes referred to as. The one I'm kind of hesitant on is Snarl, since he didn't really appear in the film that much. He's there for like a couple seconds, and then they just did didn't bother to animate him in the rest of the movie. But he's there. So I hope they do release all the Dinobots, and then you could just have a big Dinobot brawl in the Quintesson Pit of Judgment with Wheelie and Cup, the Sharkticons, the Quintessons, and everybody just going to town. I think that's just going to make a wonderful diorama.